Rebbe was one of those persons by for Shabbos and said the Bala Gola. So the Gefühl nicht gewusst, was er tut, und dann hat Bala Gola, da hatte he was in Mochen, schlapping over our Wagner, there's some blood.
When he kept the show schmitzig, did nobody want to follow him home?
That I didn't hear. Chemisch had that thing.
But that's the point. Why did it reverse?
So they reversed roles. So after 120 years, they came up Lamaila. So basically, Shemaila said that they have to come back down. And this time the Balagola has to take the wagon out, and the Gevir has to fight the people for Shabbos. So, in the Rebbe, by the Fabring, and sometimes use it in Moshes and the Shomas Hadley. Sometimes people, so when it comes to somebody that to be involved in Shlichus, so Rebbe says, I want to learn Torah now.
Bashir.
Yeah, then Lidach used to go to go to the Magid Shir. He says, as Tzarang wants to do some communal work. So everyone has to know his avodah, because if he does the avodah, it's not cut out for him.
No, reverse roles. It's amazing. The Rebbe spoke about it a lot. About this.
They actually, they have a living Torah, they have a video every week. So I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, they had this story actually.
That's why he told it to me.
They had this story on the video.
That's why I told it to me. Das kann ich bezahlen, ich habe so eine Sache.
Amen.
Nice guy.
So what they made in Israel, Independence Day? Didn't see the whole the buildings? No. Lighting the Adlakat HaMesuot.
I don't know from Independence Day.
Why?
What they like?
Dus doe je het, kan je de Zähne sagen, zur Chamekodesh.
Independence Day in Israel.
Yeah, Matzman,
So there's Adlakat
Do
HaMesuot.
it, please.
What does that mean?
They light 12 the big candles.
For what? 12 tribes?
I don't know why.
Okay.
That's
Where do they
the
light?
tradition.
Where do they light it?
Har Herzl. And then they open the day.
And?
So, like here they drop the
ball.
Why do they drop the ball?
Moshe, mach ab das.
Track people, no reason.
It also has no reason.
Symbolic. A picture? Everybody goes, they do this in the morning.
And then they had
They're
parties for 70 hours.
It's symbolic, but everybody goes to the park and barbecues. Bottom line, everybody goes to Gun Soccer.
Very important. The concept of reverse roles is
that's what they do every year. But this year they're making a party beach 70 kilometers. It starts from
but the question is, how do you know what your role is?
It goes down to Elat. Party beaches for 70 hours. Wasn't there, so I don't know how it's going, but that's what they're saying.
It's probably going to die down in 2 days.
Let's say in Chavis al-Vav, in Shabbat,
2 days is 70 hours.
What type of job should a person look for?
2 days is
They
48
said if you
hours.
see you have a certain chush and a certain
Supposed
thing,
to end
so
Sunday.
that's what you're cut out for, just like the Abisha created that every chaya that lives, lions have their characteristics, that every animal is cut out in a way for his survival. So if you feel you have a certain thing that you're good for, that's not always is like that, but it's a clue.
So you see what you're good and what Hashem where you. I thought where you were placed by people.
People go to the Rebbe, Rebbe would say to go here, to go there. Sometimes people thought that they wanted to go on shlichus, and Rebbe told them to go into business.
Or vice versa.
Vice versa, yeah. It was.
So what do you do?
I heard a story. Someone went to the Rebbe
little snapper head.
about Shuvah place. And he
What
wanted
excited
to go
about
back
that?
to his
See how much
hometown to be a shliach. So he wrote to the Rebbe, and his father really wanted him in the business. So she wrote to the Rebbe once, and he didn't think that he wrote. I think was his father's president. He said, and his father place also wants him, So the Rebbe underlines that if your father would keep Shabbos in his business or something, that this is what he should do. He should
Go to his father.
He should go into business, not go on shlichus. He was totally flabbergasted. He thought, of course, the Rebbe told him to go into shlichus. Then there were people, there's a certain shliach that he's not necessarily the
Spitz.
the Spitz being moved on, and he wrote to the Rebbe something. So I don't know what it was about. This is also the Rebbe said, "Don't shlichus." And he went.
A schwache Schlich, aber so ein Schlich.
Nein, das heißt, er nicht gewöhnt, hat die größte Laute, die größte das.
Where'd you fit that?
Survival.
So catchy.
So what's this week's topic?
What's this week's topic? So this week's topic we have about, the Rebbe spoke about Tzaras. Just trying to find the sikh over here.
So why do you look for Shalom? Why are we anti-Zionist? What's
We keep losing it up.
Why?
You know what? I'll tell you one thing. If it's in the gay in your Avodah Hashem, in 0.0.1% think about it. It's only gay in your Avodah Hashem.
People ask me why is Chabad, blah 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 blah.
Fine, so you'll tell them there's plenty of articles on the website. Everybody writes their own 2 cents.
I come coming to
Is it because they're anti-Fremen back in the Russia, or more than
That's the
that?
question. Because they're not religious. That's what he wants to know. He said, if they were religious,
If it would be,
it would also be so.
Depends who.
It's nothing
Depends
to
who.
do- No. It's first of all, it's not a matter of that they're religious or not religious. The concept of Zionism, in other words,
We're waiting for Mashiach.
they're not making the game
The
of
first few years after
Wait.
after the Medina started, all of the Gdolim in Eretz Yisrael put up flags on their shul. The Behusha Rebbe, the Ger Rebbe, all the Rebbes, they didn't. No one went against the Medina.
You smoking something? Ede Chodesh is always against.
Who's talking about it?
Yeah.
Because they're the ones who represent. So most
the
different
way
people.
that
What?
From the
I
Rebbe's perspective,
represent
it's very hard for
their
people
own-
to understand.
Even themselves, they
because
don't represent.
People only look at 2 extremes. Either you're fired against the Medina, or you look at it that it's a Salta de Gola. The way the Rebbe looked at it was a de facto thing. The Rebbe once, it was interesting, there's a book called Harabi, Shloshim Shneis Nasis. It was given out 30 years of the Rebbe was Rebbe and Tav Shemem. It was basically a collection of newspaper articles that was printed throughout the years. And there was one guy that he had an interview with the Rebbe, I don't know when it was, in the early years. And he asked the Rebbe what's his opinion about the modern state of Israel. So the Rebbe said, he said, right now we're still in Galus. In Israel they have more autonomy, or, well, you could argue about that, but they have a certain sense of autonomy that they didn't have before, but it's still a Galus. The Rebbe said, for my sake, you could have had the same thing in the middle of Saudi Arabia somewhere. All it is that you didn't have autonomy to take care of themselves more. It's still a Galus, they're still totally Medina Salem. They can't do a move without being worried with what Washington will say. So the Rebbe looked at it as a de facto that was a certain Hatzalah for Bnei Yisrael Begashmias. What the Rebbe felt that what they did, the Poel Mamish, they destroyed, in Frumkeit, the Das. I mean, it was, but in other words, it was a de facto thing. It wasn't as if the Rebbe looked at it that this is Mamish Gula Shleima, or that this is.
Jetzt ist schon da, darf man dealen with it. We have to
No,
deal.
it was a thing. The Rebbe hat gesagt, eine Sache, der Rebbe Gamel ist noch dem Chamer Sheshes Yavim, das ist ein anrufen da. So the Rebbe wrote a very sharp letter. The Rebbe basically said the Divrei Yoel was saved by who? At the end of the day,
Yeah, of
it
course.
was saved by Castor, which was Tzionim, yeah.
No, Pitom. The Zionim hate him. Zionim
Fine,
are
but
very,
it-
very against him.
Good, but he was whatever he was, right?
There is
in other
such that
words,
whole
the
tilt
Kumcha
today that he was a
Kislev
Nazi.
sagt, "Hey, ja, muss Hashem na Gilov Nisbuchavai." Was heißt, Arashim Rusha, Dave, she tut nicht keinen zum Duchsheim. That was the end of the Rebbe said, why were they saying Tilma Meir Shadim during the 6-Day War? And the Grace and the Catholics and Geisen sagen Tilma, was? So in other words, the Rebbe was saying, and then push comes to shove, well, everyone agrees. I mean, the same with the Satmar Rebbe and his Hatzolah on Kaf Aleph Kislev, which didn't happen through a Shem Tatum, whatever it was. And at the end of the day, so it was Hatzolah. Yidach Kisa, there's so many problems that the state of Israel brought together with it, and so on and so forth. But what was difficult for people to grasp is that the Rebbe Nishak Machdam Ayomtiv And this should come off with them, like, in a certain sense, Ki'ilu, I'm not saying, Ki'ilu doesn't exist. The Rebbe did not want, they had the Gross brothers, I forget who they were the big printers years ago. And they had a calendar that Lubavitch was going to use also, and they had, on Hegir to the Yom Ha'atzmaut, and the Rebbe had Yechid, as they say, you could hear the Rebbe screaming out of his room. Shumai didn't want the words Yom Ha'atzmaut on the calendar. The Rebbe didn't say you have to make hafganas, but B'Shumai, he was very fiery against it.
What is different than Purim? Exactly like Purim, there was a Nes. You hold the Church of Zion was a Nes. It was a Nes.
No.
So you want to celebrate the Nes.
But so
there was a Nes
that
became a Medina.
I remember I was giving a Gemara shir once. I was learning the Gemara. Megillah says, "Why don't you say Hallel on Purim?"
So don't say Hallel on.
The Gemara brings three different reasons. One reason is they don't say a Nes for a miracle that happened outside of Eretz Yisrael. Then the Gemara says that the famous reason that everyone quotes. One reason is that saying Hallel is that saying reading the Megillah is like Hallel. The famous reason that everyone quotes that the famous Gemara Kati Avidach Hashem Shana wasn't the Gula Shleima. So the Rebbe explains in the Sikha what's the pshat, since it's a Gula Shleima you don't say Hallel. So Hakati Avidach, there's another words. The Rebbe says Hallel you say when there's a Gilui L'mayla Min HaTepa. They say Sfarana Zach was Mizet. There's a certain feeling of godliness that's felt.
Okay.
When the Nes happened by Purim, the Yidden were saved, but since it happened, the Belubish B'Dachi HaTeva, you can't sell them.
Okay. No, okay. Who's talking about Hallel? Someone was saying Hallel?
No. I'm saying...
It should be exactly like Purim. Purim you also don't say Hallel. Same thing.
The Rebbe told Chaim Gutman in the Chidus, the Rebbe said, this Tavshin Ches is Nerz Yisrael Gevan Lichtig. Noch Tavshin Ches a Cheshach Kafel Muchop.
Why?
Why? Because the Rebbe's, you ever read the Rebbe's letters to Zevin, who does against his Chata the Gula was fire.
Yeah. But
the Rebbe said before Moshel, and I don't know how it's today, but in Eretz Yisrael and Atzeret, wherever it is, there's Israeli policemen watching statues of Isaiah, whatever it might be.
Where?
I don't know what.
There's no statues of Isaiah.
Not statues. There's some mocking.
one of the cloisters. Yeah.
What?
Nazareth. You heard of it? Place in Israel.
Where Isaiah Kvayach
was born, or
it's where what's the name was born, so they all go there. So he's saying is that we believe that you have Israeli police protecting such.
So the Rebbe was writing. This is not
Why not?
Israel. The Rebbe writing.
Worshipping.
The Rebbe said it's better to give them control of that area. The Rebbe wrote to Zevin is a very fiery.
To give them control of that area.
It's better to give the Christians control of their area than to have.
The Rebbe was very against giving away Shtachim.
Not giving away.
True, but
that
time it wasn't the issue of B'Koch Nev. This letter is written in Chafalo. The issue then was Lois Suchanim. The Rebbe says that the only reason why he said he doesn't Mederach HaTeva, he had people that survived the Holocaust that through Nisim. And then they came to Eretz Yisrael, Achmon al-Islam, they fell. And the Rebbe said, so them gebadet, Bosses Faran Abi said, the only beer he has is that they called it as Chalta de Gula. So if he would have said it's Hatzala, fine. But when you say it's as Chalta de Gula, the Rebbe says, whenever in history they took something which wasn't Gula, and they turned it into as Chalta de Gula, this is Gefallen Karbanis. That's what the Rebbe says. The Rebbe was very... But anyway, okay. Good.
I told him I need to know the Chabad stance.
But again, the problem is that people confuse. And Moshe the Rebbe, when Shazar came to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe kissed him, but geschrigen, as I don't want to words that they said. Yeah, so in other words, it was very hard for people. It's very hard for people to understand to disassociate a person from a shita. What's very, very hard for people that are not Chabad, or even non-Chabad, to understand. You could hold that a shita is possible trade, but to disassociate the person, Rebbe was able to, whatever he was able to be poiled through Shazar and Yonim to help Yiddishkeit in Eretz Yisrael, that the Fruma guys weren't
benefited.
In other words, so not listening to my voice, but the big issue is to disassociate the person from the shita.
The person and the problem also. Yeah?
It's a good start topic for Mutzoyer, for Negad. It's kind of talking about flaws.
Tell me.
Go on.
That's a cool.
Yeah, is anyway. So the shaila is.
What's your name of that?
Yeah, fine.
Chaim.
By the way,
Chaim,
here's a
what's
coin. So
Yeah.
we have a coin in the house.
Levy?
There's also a coin.
Yeah. Oh, it's a coin.
Usually you have like 3 kinds.
Yoel.
From Eretz Yisrael, Yerushalayim.
Coin?
Yerushalmi.
He's a coin. So family.
Yerushalmi is not to pull good ones off.
What?
Yerushalmi is not to pull good ones off. I love Yerushalmis.
You wanted to start about the
They
next.
say that
Where are you from? Australia?
Me? No, from here.
If hate here, they would
English
have
is
put
not,
the Abish's name. They would have recognized it's coming from the Abish and Mashiach could have
not a
come.
New York English.
The Rebbe said the same thing after the Six Day War.
the most Brooklyn English you'll find.
Say
coffee.
would officially say that Yad Hashem was
I think so.
Yeah, but another
People always say I sound like a real New
Yorker.
Yorker.
Giving you opportunity, and they,
Okay.
you know, if they would have,
They did say
No.
it was a mess,
No, not a
You
neck.
hear the Rosh HaMemshala them, they won the war because HaMedina, because Tzahal, because Ha'am, something like that. So, yeah.
That was the Declaration of Independence they had.
Comes the man God's woman.
But the Rebbe's of Mashiach could have come, not just the man they would have mentioned
Missed
it.
opportunity.
You know that the original said that Medina
Right,
Yisrael,
alles was-
Herzl is Aschalter de Gilden. You know.
The Rishner or the Zainakar.
No, the original.
Ich weiß
And Neir Yisrael.
Der Rebbe hat gesagt wegen der Ramam. Alles haben gekommen zu teilen, das Schalter de Gulas an der Ramban.
That I don't know.
Der Rebbe hat gesagt, eine
After
Sache.
you
Voran
all
a
that-
Poisik und Voran Pirushim. The Rambam is a Poisik halacha. The Rambam writes there's only one way Mashiach could come. So all other things, the Rebbe said, Rambam, not the same thing is the original, the Heilige, whatever it is. The bottom line is, the Poel Mam is found ein Zach in halacha. We can't just nehmen a Zach, you know,
A word, a type.
a word, the face,
You have to see what the
I know
original
what the
writes.
original said.
What?
Something that in the future the Goyim will give the Yidden that it's Yisrael from the Mashiach will come. I know all this stuff.
That's why the original Rebbe's Adayoim associate with the Medina.
Good.
And Rav Kook and everybody else. Everybody else is on the happy-go-lucky train.
That's what they hold.
Good.
Good for them.
Nachshalit Ninenu.
That's the name. The Rebbe, I mean, the Shiloh is what difference does it make in your the Posh to get at.
It's a difference in perspective.
Good, fine. Huh? So the Rebbe said, that was what the Rebbe was screaming about. The
So
Rebbe
the 70s also have people that say that
said to
Mashiach
Rabbi
is here.
Zevin, the Rebbe said, was art mir? You might ask me, was art mir? Aber es machen jeden gut auf den Herzen. You say it as halt at the gula, it feels good. What do I care? So the Rebbe said, if I wouldn't think it's pikuach nefesh, it wouldn't bother me. That's what the Rebbe said. The only beer that he found, while in Eretz Yisrael, this falling karbonos, that were people that escaped the Holocaust with miracles, and they came to Israel and they fell. And that's the only beer he found was because they called it as Holocaust.
Ruchis or the...
No, Pekashmi.
They died.
They take in the War of Independence. You had how many Holocaust survivors were killed?
Well, there were 6,000 total. That's. You know how many were killed in the Holocaust?
Fine, but there were people that were saved in the Holocaust. You see that they
How
were
many people would be killed in Syria if the Jews were still in Syria? How
How
many Jews would be killed in Iraq if the Jews were still in Iraq? How
Not
many Jews would be
6
killed
million.
in Palestine if the Jews were still in if the Arabs were in charge of Palestine? Think about it. I'm just saying, a lot of Jews are being
It's a
saved
big
in Eretz
nest
Yisrael
that you
because
have
people-
I'm
today.
not
That's
saying
the song.
that. I'm not saying that. But
That was the
I'm saying
beginning,
that
middle.
shit,
Very
Rebbe-
simple.
I'm saying the Rebbe looked at it as a hatzalah, but the Rebbe still looked at it that at the end of the day there were things that were happening there that were putting it in
Pass me a
sakana.
Sure.
Yeah, when the Rebbe said that giving away shtachim is putting it in sakana. The person say, hold on, Israel saved so many Jews or whatever. They say they didn't say. So, but the bottom, if you put Jews in sakana, the Rebbe said then to this journalist, the Rebbe said you're having female soldiers in the army. The Rebbe said you should really be court-martialing them because they're putting the army in danger. Because it says that the Eibishter with the Hashem u'lekecha mishalach v'kerev machanecha. The Eibishter gives hatzlach. You know, when there's a place where there's Gilead eyes going on, the Eibishter doesn't. So the Rebbe used the lashon that technically, you know, if you think about it, they should be court-martialed. So in other words, they're saving Jews. Of course, they're saving Jews, but at the same time, if they're doing things that are
Women in
putting.
the army or mixed?
No, what I'm saying is, in other words, if you want to get the Rebbe's complete perspective, There's so many different points you have to take into consideration. It's not a black and white thing. Either it's good or it's bad.
It's good, but it could be better.
I'm not so sure about that.
That's what you were saying the whole time.
No.
It's for sure it would be better.
At Toshim Chesed was that the Rebbe said that, in other words, the Hatzalah that he didn't have could have taken place wherever it was.
They could have got their own.
Yeah, no one's saying that it has something to do dafka with the land. I'm also not saying it has something to do dafka with the land.
As the Rebbe said, the fact that you turn a golus into gulas is a deeper golus that there could be. The Rebbe scrammed that by Farbrengen a number of times.
Then what? That high ear was a.
Not nicht again high ear. Is that the etzem the safe? You see, what people in andere kreisen schreiben nach high. The Rebbe geschrieben wegen Shleimus Am, Shleimus others. Das ist the Rebbe's Muhammad.
I'm very confused at this point because the Rebbe took the UN as a sign Mashiach's coming.
Yeah.
Israel for some reason not.
No.
The Rebbe said that Israel is a sign of Mashiach's coming?
The fact that there's a state of Israel?
Yeah.
No, the Rebbe never said that.
But the UN?
The Rebbe, what the Rebbe did
UN,
say,
yes?
you're talking about an unbathed.
Yeah.
It's a very strange thing.
What the Rebbe did say then is the fact that some
The
people
most
are coming
anti-Semitic organization in the world is a simon of
well, the Rebbe is looking at it
Israel.
Shorshe, not...
In perspective.
And
I'll
tell you two things. I'll tell you two things. There was one thing I started saying which I forgot already. But the other aspect is that somebody was another in the same book, Rebbe Shloshim Shanot Messias. So there was another guy that he had an interview with the Rebbe. You know, people used to always ask the Rebbe why the Rebbe doesn't go to Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe used to always give different answers. And there was one journalist was Weissers, got the shtickle a cup of seine places. So he was writing that the Rebbe, he was asked why the Rebbe doesn't go to Eretz Yisrael. He said the Rebbe used a lot of times to explain that the influence he's able to have in America isn't
It's more than what he can do.
yeah. But he said when he left the Rebbe's room, he realized one small thing. He said the Rebbe lives Mashiach. He says for the Rebbe going to Eretz Yisrael at a time when it's not Mashiach, but the Rebbe geht halt zurück in school, geht halt so many. The Rebbe told my Zayda was wanting to go to Yisrael. The Rebbe told him, geht halt zurück zusammen mit Mashiach und mit mir. So the Rebbe going to Yisrael, he lived so much Mashiach, like what the Rebbe wrote to President, or the Rebbe wrote to the President, whoever it was, that he said that he can't call him a Nasi. The Rebbe didn't use the word Nasi for the Israeli president, he wrote President. Why he said for him as a kid, that's what the famous letter that Rebbe wrote, as a kid growing up, he was starting to imagine, even before he was going to Cheder, he was trying to imagine the Gula, that there should be such a Gula that the Gula should be worth all the tzaras of Yidden. So the Rebbe said he can't bring himself, and on top of that you have Mashiach, who's a true Nasi, Ein al Gab of El Hashem says, in such a situation he can't bring himself to call and having a modern state of Israel, which in no way is the megain of what Mashiach is supposed to be. So to call the president a Nasi, the Rebbe is so to say apologizing. He doesn't feel he can't do it.
It's another Shazar, right?
Not to Shazar. Who was then the president?
When? What years?
It's Mustamed early Yuds. Yitzchok Ben Tzvi or something maybe.
Or Ben Tzvi or Weizmann.
I think it was Ben Tzvi. So for the Rebbe, in other words, what the Rebbe did tell this guy, the Rebbe says sometimes you make a
journalist.
Yeah, it says also in this book. I think it's in the Rabbi Shloshim Shnot Nesias, but the Rebbe told him when people are making a show, so they rehearse, right? And then, in other words, at the end of the rehearsals, they open up the curtains and they start rehearsing as if it's real, just to see if they really got it. So the Rebbe says that in Tafshin Ches, Eibusha did the same thing. He, so to say, he gave us a chance to have our own country, so to see, like we're making the last rehearsal, to see if we're ready for Yemei Mashiach. And the Rebbe said, and we missed it.
What was the...
In other words, if the Yidden would have taken the opportunity that they had to use it out in a way to come closer to the Eibusha, instead of Keichi Veitzim Yodi, that's what the Rebbe said. That's how the Rebbe looked at the whole thing. And the Rebbe said, that they wrote that they didn't put the Eibusha's name in the Abgestuck the Gula for 50 years.
You ever said that?
Yeah.
That's what? That they didn't?
That they didn't put Eibishter's name in the thing.
And what?
In the Megillat
Megillat Atzmaut?
Yeah.
Megillat Atzmaut.
Yeah, so he said...
They don't have...
They have Tzur Yisrael. You're showing us the famous Tzur Yisrael, the rock. The rock of Israel. So the Rebbe said, what up you should go out 50 kiyar. That's what Lashon the Rebbe.
It's a big fight. Big fight. Because it's the from Tzion wanted to put in. So they had a...
No. You know who wrote Megillat Atzmaut?
No?
It's Shemaiah Levin.
What?
Sure, well, the from crowd till 55 years ago. Till 55 years ago, said Howell.
What happened?
Nicht Emes?
People still say hello.
People say why you say
Nicht Emes? Behusha Rebbe said Howell.
And why you say it with the broken?
Lass mich fragen, was gibt es? Ich verstehe nicht den.
I'm just saying history.
Was ist denn again Avodas Hashem?
It's not.
Okay, that's
not.
So let's move
Who
on.
said? I'm still talking.
Okay, good, fine.
I'm not allowed to talk.
No, you allowed to zonder you allowed to talk in Frentel to man.
Interesting what you are doing.
Daar also. Van Havels so.
Fine. So basically, the Rebbe has a sikh over here. Why Mashiach is called a Mitzayda? The Gemara says, the Sanhedrin speaks, what's the name of Mashiach?
Vier Miren. Menachem, Yunan, in Shiloh, in Ches is...
Chizkiah. Yeah. So it says that the Chachamim, the Rabbanon Omri, Chivra the Beit Rabbi Shmuel. That he hates Amitzoyra the Beis Rabbi.
What says it? Right, but it's Pesach.
Ja, das steht, das
Pesach the Mara from Shibbar Choin.
No, Pesach from Reimish.
From Roim in
the changing
the
the
bandages.
Yeah.
But one of them says is a Mitzvah.
So one of them says it's called
Chasimar. That's where Masay Chasimar.
Yeah.
And Masay Chasimar is Rabbi Shulban Levi, and then that Al Shem Tov said the same question years later.
Yeah.
Shimon Levi met
the Leonov, met Mashiach.
Yeah. Doesn't say he wasn't dead. It says he was
wounds. He was bandaging wounds upwards.
And he took one bandage at a time. He used to change one bandage at a time in case he has the call to go. He should be ready to go.
No neighbor.
So one place is called Mitzvah also.
So he says he's called Mitzvah. He brings the pasuk. It says the pasuk about Mashiach. Achin chaleinu hu nasa ma'chevenu svalim. That Mashiach is suffering the plagues of the Jewish people. It says v'nachnu chashavnu nogua. We thought that he was a Nogua. Nogua also is another word for Mitzayra.
Yeah.
So now the question is, why is Mashiach called a Mitzayra? I mean, you call him a different name, someone that's suffering, who could be a Surah, what's Punkt Mitzayra? So the Rebbe gives first one answer which he doesn't accept. He says the Rebbe explains what's the holding of Tzaras? Why don't we have Tzaras today? But Rambam writes the holding of Tzaras was a moifus. It wasn't the medical thing. It was that if a person sees Lashon he will get this rash on the skin.
It wasn't disease. It wasn't a sickness.
It wasn't disease, right? It wasn't the medical condition.
Right.
So the Rebbe says, why don't we have that now? So the Rebbe brings an interesting thing. It says that the pasuk starts off about Tzaras. Adam ki abor b'sarei. Adam. Usually the Torah says ish does. Here the Torah says Adam, from Adam will have Tzaras. What's Pshat Adam? So he says there are four names in Tanakh or whatever, four general names. There's Adam, Ish, Gever, and Emish. But Adam is is a Shem HaMayla. I'm on live now.
Yeah.
Was I on live before also?
No. Yeah.
Possibly.
So Adam is Adam is.
I think you dropped any four-letter words. Did you say any four-letter words? Are you worried about?
No. I just don't want to cause any stirs over here. So at any rate, so we have.
Any comments?
So it says Adam is a Shem HaMayla.
So Emes is Emes. That's it. There's no.
Van een woord niet jeder zegt als hij moet even schrijven van de
dag. So Adam is the lowest?
No, Adam is the highest.
So Adam Kiyam is oil.
Ha?
Adam Kiyom is boil.
Samen van Babir of the Mecher. It's alles shall teira. Wat is deze teira dem kjaden de spoil is alles shall teira steht in the
Ja. But Adam is a high medrager.
Ja.
What's down on the alien?
Ha, Adam is Adam alone. Steht Adam is Adama. Andere Platte steht also Adam hat zwei Adam is Adama. And also Adam al-Elyon. So if he's worth it, so Adam al-Elyon. Agnish sagt man ihm, du bist mina Adam, du weißt.
So that's both.
Yeah, but anyway, in Adam is a Shem HaMayla. So the question is, Pasuk says, Adam ki abor b'sadei. That who has tzaras, tafke the Adam. So Chassid, the Rebbe explains a very interesting thing. The Rebbe explains, what is tzaras? Tzaras is on the skin of the body. It's not a disease inside. It's not
a superficial affliction.
Right. So in other words, somebody that is on a lower level than Adam, by him, the klipa, the choili, the spiritual disease is inside of him. So it's not going to appear on his skin. Adam means somebody that is a tzaddik. Is oiskarbet, but he has a little bit, the shirayim, the leftovers that he still wasn't mavadi yet. So that's on the skin of his body, means it's on the outside. That's where he gets tzaras from. That's Adam Kiyabur B'Sari. So the Rebbe says, why today's day and age don't we have tzaras? Because the Rebbe says, because today's day and age, even someone that's a tzaddik, the Raz, because we're in Golos, he's not able to be on the level that the Raz is only on superficial. It's more, fine.
So this is the Malyusa, heißt das?
Nein, so das heißt, Tzaras allein ist nicht nur Malyusa, aber es ist shaykh nur bei Adam HaMayla. It's only shaykh by someone that's almost perfect, he's able to have Tzaras. So he says, for that reason, Mashiach, you could say Mashiach is called Tzaras, to show that he's completely perfect, and just the last moments of Golus, you still have to clear off the small shirayim that are left on the end of the skin. So, but the Rebbe says the Rebbe doesn't say this is not good enough, because he says, according to this explanation, Mitzvah is not a positive term for Mashiach, because it's taka showing that we're at the stage where we're almost ready for Mashiach, and just a little bit that still has to be finished. But it's still showing in a negative thing.
Still Zahama.
Yeah, so L'chayri, you're talking about Mashiach being called Mitzvah, you should be describing something positive, something. So the Rebbe says a very interesting thing, and the Rebbe says that the meaning of tzaras in its shaydish is a very high level. It says, says or he brings up in Kabbalah.
See, Miriam had tzaras. It's not.
Huh?
Miriam had tzaras. It was a.
Yeah.
Miriam.
Yeah, but I'm saying b'shorsh. It says l'mayla. Not tzaras began.
And not when it gets.
Not when it gets on your skin. But in other words, the source of tzaras above in spiritual worlds says is very strong gevuras. It's very powerful gevuras that need to be sweetened by chesed. That's why it says, who's the one that you bring the tzaras to the kohen? Why is it after the kohen? Is the kohen is the isha chesed. Stam meaning lin shlei boy seen here. The Rebbe has a very famous word. The Rebbe says that you have to bring the tzaras to a kohen. It says even if the kohen himself is am horis, he doesn't know anything, and he has a Talmud Chacham standing here and say Tommy, say Tor. It has to be done by the kohen. Why does it have to be done by the kohen? That's the word. A kohen is isha chesed. If somebody wants to say something negative on another Jew, he has to be sure that it's coming only from chesed. So to say a Jew is tamei, so the kohen is isha chesed. He's going to try to make sure. Maybe he could find, double check. Are you sure that it's taka sim and tum does? But if you want to say something negative about a Jew, it has to go through a kohen. Going back over here. So anyway, so beruchnius, it comes from a very great gevurah, from very powerful gevurahs, which, as it comes down in this world, it manifests itself as a tzaras. So the Rebbe says that you have a concept in Chassidus that gevurah, right? Gevurah is positive or negative. Dingen from gevurah. So gevurah sounds like a negative thing. No, gevurah means tzimtzum. Gevura means to be strict, to be, But in its source, it says Gevura is higher than Chesed. Why? Because Gevura is a tagboira sachayus. In Gevura, there's a passion. In Gevura, it's powerful. A guy that's a nice guy, he's sweet, he's not necessarily so passionate. He'll give money, he'll help people, but you don't see him getting farkocht. A person's isha Gevura, you see him getting farkocht. So Gevura has a very strong shadish. In certain sense, it's higher than Chesed. Just the problem is, Gevura is so powerful that when it comes down here, it could be destructive. You need to have limitations for how the Gevura could express itself. That's why it says. That's why it says on Kiyah Shefer. Rebbe doesn't mean to see it. Kiyah Shefer is brought in Kabbalah. The whole thing is to be ma'amtik the Gevuras. Yeah, but Meister, Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov's Kiyah Shvarim through its Kiyah, be ma'amtik the Gevuras. Why do you need to be ma'amtik the Gevuras? Forget about the Gevuras in the first place. It says no, the Gevuras are very important. Because the whole Iker Chayis, the Dam Hu HaNefesh, the passion. So Elamai, you want that it should be sweetened, that it should be come in a positive way. So the Rebbe says that in its source, Tzaras is a very high level. Elamai, when it comes down here, there's no kalim for it, so it manifests itself in a negative way. So the Rebbe says this is why Mashiach is called a Mitzayda, because Mashiach will be able to bring these very high lights that they should be revealed down here.
Also as a positive.
Yeah.
So turning the whole nega into a
because in other words,
positive experience.
The source Mashiach is called a Mitzayda. It's inside the source of Tzaras Lamaila, which is Takberes Achayis. It's a very great light, and when it comes down now, it can come down in a positive way. So when Mashiach will come,
it'll be a partial Tzaras at that time. Mashiach will come, or
Bruchni is the ganze Teire wird bleiben. Dann wird es bleiben Bruchni.
Sure.
Yeah. So he brings down Yitaki, he brings down Deir HaChaim, mentioning for Deir HaChaim. He says that the Deir HaChaim, that the Shteit Tziporim Chayis Tohiris, the two birds are the two Mashiachim, Mashiach ben Yosef and Mashiach ben David. That's because what's the true meaning of Taras HaMitzayda is to draw down the source of Tzaras, the way it's above, down here, through that. So Mamela, that's the two birds, Mashiach ben Yosef, Mashiach ben David will do that.
Hij zegt niet wat je brengt naar Orgaam of wat is dat?
Ha?
Je Indië van het
Nee, Deir HaChaim sagt, de ganze Bier, gesagt, die Indië van Tzaras, op je gezegd, dat sagt der Rebbe da.
Den Aginen bald, den Aginen Musik.
Wat is dat?
Maar ik zal alleen gaan met Schneck. It's left to go to Burper.
Niet meer, het nog.
That's look, I get.
Kalt und Sache Rabbe.
I get scared next time.
The Rebbe talks a lot about in the Torah that it's throughout repeats that it's a beginning. I mean, only on 1 year.
It's one year. I'm not sure. Twice I should say.